My name's Dr. Forrest Mayan, and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer and co-founder of Lunar Outpost Inc. And we're sending rovers to the moon, and also we've got a project on Mars right now.
How do you get started by sending things to the moon? What's like the origin story of Lunar Outpost?
I grew up right outside NASA Johnson Space Center. So this is one of the coolest places on Earth if you're a kid, right? You can go hang out with astronauts, you can go launch rockets right in your backyard. And so I always knew I wanted to be involved in space. And fortunately for me, I had some family members that were involved in space. So I was introduced to it very early on. But we actually saw a lot of extremely talented people get frustrated at the rate of pace that we were making in space. Like, we went to the moon during the Apollo era, right? We're talking late 1960s, early 1970s. And by now we should have not only habitats, but we should have like whole cities, organizations out in space. However, they didn't have the funding or the backing to probably make that a reality. We were looking at ways at how a small company could have that impact. And that's how Lunar Outpost was created.
So this rover here is called MAPP, and it's a mobile autonomous prospecting platform. This rover is a small rover that can be sent up quickly. Where this mission is going is the lunar South Pole, and no one has ever been there before. And the reason why that's pretty scary and just getting to the surface is tough is because the sun is at such a low angle at the South Pole, like you're talking just a couple degrees off the horizon, that the lighting is very dramatic. So there's lots of areas of light and areas of dark. And you got to put the lander down in an area with light. If you land in the dark, there's no power for anything, the solar panels, it's going to die. That's going to determine the length of our mission. So in an ideal scenario, we'll get 14 days out of the mission. But depending on how we land and where the sun is, it could be shorter.
It's been a long time since we've gone back to the moon, at least here in the US. And why do you think that now is such an important time?
We're less than a year out from landing at the South Pole of the moon. There's a lot of scientific instruments that are indicating the presence of water ice there. And if we found that it was prevalent and just right underneath the surface, I mean, that would change everything, because the hydrogen and the oxygen can create propellants for satellites, which can enable us to fuel rockets that go even deeper into the solar system and maybe even other galaxies. So the initial moon missions were really quick missions, and at the time, the technology probably wasn't there to support continual presence on the moon. NASA has really started to open up to more commercial ways to explore the lunar surface, and that's unlocked entrepreneurs building landers and rockets, and then companies like Lunar Outpost that are providing surface mobility.
What it comes down to is the autonomous robots and sensor systems that we're creating do have an impact in each of these broader markets: Earth, Moon, Mars. We're making oxygen on Mars, taking CO2 out of the Martian atmosphere, turning it into oxygen, and we're putting air quality sensors, autonomous sensors and robots here on Earth. With these sensors, we can figure out what's in the air, and therefore you can figure out how to mitigate a lot of the air pollution that's coming out. What we wanted to create here at Lunar Outpost was a company, an organization that people can come in and have that impact immediately from day one. Whether you're an intern, whether you've been in the industry for 20, 30 years, doesn't matter. You are going to be contributing to where humanity is going in space.
What was your first thought when someone said, hey, we're going to be putting some Bitcoin on the moon and we're going to have an interplanetary treasure hunt?
I was just like, that's fucking fun. That's going to be a fucking blast. Like, let's do it. I mean, that's just something that's never been done before, and something that I think is going to have a broader impact on the cislunar economy. And certainly something that we're excited about is proving that you can run financial transactions out in space, because one of our goals is to have people living and working on the moon. It definitely takes a certain kind of crazy to get into space, right? Because the timelines aren't easy. Your launch is going to be slipped. It always takes more time and more money than you expect, no matter how good your plan is. We just felt like it was important. We have to get humanity out into space. There is no other way about it. We have a very finite amount of resources here on Earth, and if we find a way to access and utilize the infinite resources of space, we can make life better for everyone.